The clock chimed 6 p.m. and my school day was over. I joined Mother in the kitchen and asked if she'd like some help with supper. "No thank you, dear," she replied. "Here, I've made you a cup of tea," she added, placing it on the table and beckoning me to sit. She made light chit-chat about my field trip and how my essay was coming along before adopting a much more serious tone. "Now, Peter, about this idea of working at the museum on the weekends." "Well, it was something that Rita, the lady who helped me into the Victorian dress, mentioned," I replied, but I don't think she realized that I was really a boy. "So I doubt anything will come of it." "Yes, this true." Mother agreed. "However, it would be a good opportunity for you and history is one of your favorite subjects, Mrs. Barnes tells me." I nodded in agreement. I do enjoy history. "And getting out of the house once a week would be a blessing." Mother continued. "Now, I have Rita's contact details, so I guess having a chat with her won't do any harm." My face lit up. "But seeing as you have such a busy study schedule, as well as your Saturday chores, means that Sunday is the only day you have to yourself," she explained. "Are you sure you want to give that day up too?" she asked. I thought for a moment before replying. "Well, I've been cooped up in here for so long. Which is all my own fault," I added, as I didn't want Mother to think I was blaming her, so the idea of getting out once a week is quite attractive. "Yes, I'm sure it is, but you realize you'd have to do it as Rebecca and not Peter." I nodded. "And you don't mind?" she asked. I shook my head. "No." "Well." Mother sat back in her chair and pondered. "Like I said, having a chat with Rita won't do any harm, but in the meantime, I want you to have good hard think about it." I nodded and thought for a moment before saying, "The way I see it is, I've spent the last 5 weeks wearing only Cheryl's clothes, which I know was intended to humiliate and belittle me into being good instead of a pain in the ass." Mother raised her eyebrows at my language, but continued listening. "Which I know I was, and I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I got expelled. I'm sorry you're paying a small fortune for Mrs. Barnes to educate me, but after all, I'm quite proud of myself for buckling down and taking my education more seriously." Mother nodded and smiled. "You should be proud of yourself, Peter," she agreed. "So far your behavior and your studies have been exceptional. And as far as having to wear only Cheryl's old clothes is concerned, well, at first I hated it." "Yes, I know," Mother interrupted. "But since Cheryl had a word with me about it, I don't mind so much anymore. I've noticed. So dressing and acting like a girl at home is exactly the same as dressing and acting like a girl at the museum." Mother nodded, as she could obviously see my point. "And the money could help towards paying for Mrs. Barnes, and the experience will help towards my studies," I added as part of my final statement. "It's win-win as far as I can tell." "Well, you have put a lot of though into it, haven't you?" Mother sounded impressed. "However, you haven't considered what would happen if your true gender was discovered." I though for a moment, "Well, to be honest, Mother, I've been worried about people noticing I'm really a boy all day, but as far as I could tell, nobody did. Not the school kids, nor the teachers or other visitors. None of the staff noticed, and bearing in mind I undressed in front of Rita and she still didn't realize I was a boy, I think it should be okay. As long as they don't need to see my birth certificate." I smiled. "Well, you do seem to have thought of everything," Mother replied. "But like I say, I'll have a think about it first, so don't get your hopes up." "Thanks, Mother." I smiled.